Well, hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are starting a brand new show today, and I'm really intrigued. If you are new to this channel, my name is Romania Black, and I am an English teacher and a speech coach, but mainly, when I'm not doing those things in the real world, I am on here online geeking out about anime, manga, donmai, donghua, all of the shipping, all of the fun, all of the theorizing, all of the breaking down of characters, just all of the things. And so I just finished a show, and over on my Patreon, we have a poll, usually to see which show is going to replace series when I finish them. And so I wanted to do kind of a slice of life comedy poll. And so I had it up on Patreon, and overwhelmingly, people were like, Bocchi the Rock. I think I'm saying it right. I think it's Bocchi. We're going to find out. Sometimes pronunciation with Romania is not succinct, so we'll figure that out as we go. But I'm super excited. As you may know, if you've been on my channel before, and if you haven't, I will tell you first and foremost, as a content creator, I love reading comments. I love answering them. I love talking with people, but I especially love to go into a series 100% blind. Like, just 100% blind. I want to go in knowing nothing and just explore the show, experience it for the first time like you all have, diving into it, and discover what the show is going to give me. And so I'm pretty excited about this. The only thing I know is that when I pulled up the show, she has a guitar. And I'm assuming it's like a music genre, which is exciting because I have not had until this year the chance to really get into music anime. I have watched Blue Giant on this channel, and I have watched Inuo, which is going to be coming out, and those two have musical elements to them, and they're amazing. So I'm pretty excited by the prospect of seeing a music anime and whatever else it may entail. But I'm really excited about this series. Like I said, I know nothing about it except there was a girl with a guitar on the poster. So if you comment down below, feel free to talk about the episodes themselves, but please don't give me any information about what's to come in the series. Don't let me know anything about character development or plot development, because I will discover it alongside you week to week. I do want to say, I do know, before people comment about it, that there is a second season in the works. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. That's exciting. It gives me a lot of encouragement and hope that this is going to be a really good series if they're already doing a second season. I don't want to know anything about the manga if this is based on a manga. I don't want to know the differences. I usually tell people, wait till the end of the season and then point out the differences, especially when we're watching like a week-to-week show as it's coming out, because sometimes animators will not put something in one episode and save it till the next to adapt it, and people at first will be like, oh, they left this out, and then it'll be in there later. But considering this is already a fully complete season and it came out a couple years ago, I feel like if there are things that you know will never be adapted by the series from this first part, then sure, you can talk about that, but just kind of be wary, because I like to be surprised. Right? But I'm super excited about this show. I really am glad y'all voted for it. Honestly, it's been on my polls and radar for a while now. I've had a lot of people recommend it, so I'm excited to dive in. We're going to be watching the Japanese subs, and I always have people ask, but you're going to have to click the link down below to see the actual reaction. And then we're going to come back and talk about it. All right? So that's my plan anyway, but I'm super excited. I hope you all are as well. But in any case, we're not going to waste any more time. We are going to get started with Bocchi the Rock, episode 1, and see what we get. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh, buddy. I'm actually really excited. Like, within the first few minutes, I thought, oh, we have lots of things to talk about, which is really exciting. This is adorable. This is adorable. I'm so excited for this. Is it weird? I just finished Revolutionary Girl Utena, which this isn't really spoiling much based off that series, but Bocchi is kind of like a mix between Utena and Anthe. Is she their love child? Oh my gosh, I really am excited about this show because I think it's gonna play a lot into things that people can relate to. And I'm really excited because there were parts of this that I could relate to as well, not only with Hitori's character, but also with interaction socially and from like a content creator standpoint and from a teacher standpoint. Like in this episode alone, there was a lot to talk about. So I'm really, really excited. So what we're going to do, as per how I usually do on my channel, is we're going to break this episode down. We're going to break it down, talk about, I have 2 dogs, Ruby and Huckleberry. Ruby's at my feet right now wanting me to give her belly rubs. Of course, I have to adhere to her requests. So I'm like, my foot's going on her stomach there. So let's talk about this episode right from the start, with her being like, the girl, would it be okay for me to join in? The thing that I am so sad about with Hitori's character is she's so cute and she's so fun and she has such a great personality. And it's really sad to me that she doesn't have the self-confidence to believe in herself and to go and hang out with these people. And it's so crazy. I feel like it's so relatable to a lot of people because you kind of self-doubt and you kind of think, oh, well, is it okay for me to join in? Is it okay for me to do this? And I feel like there are situations where we all have had that feeling of, is it okay for me to be here? Am I welcomed? And for that to be like a huge part of her personality is just wild to me. But she's so adorable, and I love how her little ponytail that's blue and yellow changes over time. It like starts out as the 2 beads, and then it becomes like the little cubes. So when she's looking at the kids playing, and she's all by herself, she's like, I miss my chance, and I end up all alone. So here's my thing, though, and this is from a teacher standpoint, and obviously Japanese culture and U.S. Western culture is very different. But I did spend about 5 years being a substitute teacher for grade schools. So I got to teach between kindergarten and 6th grade for 5 years. And I did high school and junior high too before I got my full-time job. So I've interacted as a teacher with a lot of students. And the one thing that, and I don't know if this is a Japanese thing, maybe from their cultural perspective, and people in the comments will probably talk about this, but the one thing I was kind of like, about was that the teacher just led Hitori away. Like she didn't integrate Hitori in with the kids. She didn't say, hey guys, this is Hitori. Hitori, do you want to play with them? Or anything like that. And I know that some people might say that Hitori was really nervous and awkward and shy and would have froze up. And I get that. But as a teacher, I feel like part of your job is to make everyone feel welcome and safe in an environment because it's a learning environment. And for her to like lead Hitori away, I know she probably thought that that was the right thing to do, but I wonder if from such an integral age, at being in grade school, if the better approach would have been to try to help her socialize then as a kid. Of course, then we wouldn't have a plot. Then it would just rolled credits, you know, and like they did later on in the episode. But I felt really strongly as a teacher in that one moment being like, oh, I don't know if you should have done that. I don't know if I would have done the same thing. I think I would have talked with Hitori, and then because she leaves with the teacher and has like, her lunch is adorable. Her lunch that her parents make for her is super cute. But she's sitting there eating. She's like the girl who ends up alone. And the teacher is there, you know, with her at the picnic, swapping parts of her lunch with her teacher. And again, I don't want to say the teacher's doing the wrong thing, because I think it's sweet that the teacher is with Hitori. And we don't know. I mean, Hitori has a lot of social awkwardness and she doesn't really know how to interact socially with other kids, but she wants to. She wants to do that. And I don't know if Hitori had told the teacher she wanted to interact with the other kids, or she just kept quiet and didn't say anything. I think the teacher is doing the right thing by being a support for Hitori. I'm not saying the teacher is wrong in dragging her away necessarily. I think it's important the teacher is a support system for her and she's standing by her. And I think it's important that the teacher is being someone there to her. She doesn't just leave Hitori on a mat by herself and walk away, because another series I've watched, March Comes In Like a Lion, and it's amazing. You should watch that series if you haven't. That series, the main protagonist kind of has like a social awkwardness like Hitori, and we get some flashbacks to them in grade school, and they don't have that teacher support network. And so I feel like it's super important the teacher is here for Hitori and here to be with her and to share lunch and give her like some emotional, you know, stability. But on the same vein, I'm like, she's grown up through this and the teacher's never tried to offer to help the kids, like to say to the kids, like, hey, Hitori's really shy. Do you guys want to like be nice to her and like integrate her into your social circles? Like, let's be nice. Hitori's really shy. Let's be kind to her and like welcome her in the circle. Like, there wasn't any of that we saw. And I don't know if it's going to flash back later in the series to show the teacher trying to do that and then the kids reject her. Now, if that happened and the teacher tried to integrate Hitori and the kids were like, no, and they were being like little snot-nosed brats, then I would understand why the teacher was like, actually, I'm just going to sit with you, Hitori, and we're not going to worry about it. So I don't know. I think personally as a teacher, I would have tried different methods, but for the sake of the storytelling, and we've got to set this up, and maybe it's a cultural thing, I get why they did what they did. But immediately I was like, I want to talk about this. So I don't think the teacher did anything wrong. I think that it's amazing she's an anchor for Hitori at the school setting, because students like Hitori that struggle socially need someone like that they feel safe around. And that teacher is amazing for doing so. I just feel like I wish we could have seen if the teacher tried to integrate Hitori into the social circle, because Hitori clearly wants it. But, you know, was she denied it, or did the teacher not even try? And I don't know if Hitori is neurodivergent. I don't get those vibes from her. I just get the vibes of someone that's really introverted and socially awkward. And I've been there. As a kid growing up, I was a bookworm. I was a teacher's pet. I just wanted to do really good in school. I had like 3 or 4 friends that I was close to. I wasn't as shut out from social interactions as Hitori, but those 3 to 4 people were like my safe zone. They were like the people that I kind of connected with, kind of like what I imagine the band is going to become to Hitori. They're going to become her social circle and her friend group that's her safety net. So that was my experience, but I was not an extrovert. I'm not an extrovert at all. I tell my best friend, I'm like, I perform extroversion. Like I perform it for the channel. I love speaking in front. I love talking about things I'm geeking out about. But if you see me in a social circle, I will be nice and kind because that's just me. But I'm not an extrovert. I'm not like the person that's bouncing up and down being a hype person. Not usually. Unless I feel like it's to help someone else. But it's different. It's also storming outside, so it may thunder while I'm talking. But yeah, so she goes home to this nice house and everything. It's pretty cool. And what I liked was that we kind of had like a Neon Genesis moment, which I was not expecting in this series at all. But it's this moment of when she's talking and the subtitles are down below and above are the TV talking and they're saying 2 conversations at once, which you have to kind of like, it's hard to pay attention when that happens. So when Hitori comes home, she says, she's narrating her story. She says her smartphone is full of nothing but messages from her parents and coupon offers. So the messages from her parents, at first I thought that meant that she was estranged from her parents and her parents were living somewhere else, or she was like with her siblings and like a grandparent or something. But no, her parents are there. So maybe it is a neurodivergency. Maybe she just is so shy that her parents are like, hey, you know, if you don't want to talk to us, here's how we'll communicate with you, which is fine. That's good that her parents are like trying to meet her in ways that she feels comfortable communicating. But I feel so sorry for her because I'm like, you girl, you are amazing. You have a great personality. And I hate that you don't have the confidence to talk with people, because I think that they would love you if you could. Also, there's a bunch of basic bitches in the world, so she'd have to deal with that. But I'm sure we'll tie into that. We're going to talk about that later in the episode anyway. But so the TV says you could probably make it quickly if you cut them in advance. And she's like, that's me. Hitori Goto, first year in middle school. So we start this out proper in middle school. And so it's really, really cute. And she's like, I didn't need to know anymore. They're talking about making dishes on the TV. She's learning how interesting cooking can be. I think that that's interesting. The TV is talking about the joys of cooking, where she's going to be talking about the joys of being in a rock band later on. And so Hitori wants to change the way she is, but she doesn't know how or where to start or what the methods are. She also reminds me of you from Bloomin' to You. I think just because of the pink hair and kind of being super shy. So she has a little sister that looks exactly like her. She's like, I always stammer when I try to speak, and I'm really bad at keeping eye contact. I'm the archetypal introvert. I'm like, I just want to root for her and hope that she gains that confidence, right? And so then her dad sits down. Her dad, who looks 16, who is like, I was like, I thought it was her brother. I legit thought it was her brother. And no, he's like, if she was in middle school, she would have been 12. So if he was 20 at the time when he had her, he'd been like 32. So, okay, if he's a little bit younger than me, because I'm in my 30s, I could see it. But man, I thought that he was her brother, like baby face, young man. And we don't even get to see his face fully. So I don't think that that helps. They're like holding back and not showing us his full face. We get this screenshot and the scene with the band, the guy band on TV. The one guy looks like Etsumu from Haikyuu. The blonde looks like Etsumu. He quit in Arizaki and decided to go play in a band. But I don't recognize a lot of voice actors, but the one voice actor I do recognize is Suda. Suda, he's voiced in many things. I love his voice. It is like ASMR to my soul. I love it. And the moment I heard that voice, I was like, that's Suda. And he's talking about being the introvert in class that couldn't find his social standing until he met these other band members and decided to be in a band. Like Hitori can instantly relate. And he's like, now you're part of this extremely popular band. He's like, a band is a place where introverts can shine. Because, yeah, and I love that because, again, I'm going to be making a lot of references to Given as well. If you've not watched Given, you should. It's amazing. But I feel like the main character of Given and the main character of this series are very similar in the fact that they struggle to communicate what they're feeling, and music becomes a way in which they can communicate. I guess Given is a music anime that I've watched. We'll put that on there as well. But yeah, so I feel like the main characters of both those series, they struggle to communicate proper in person, but then when they are using music as an outlet, it's a way for them to communicate without words, and they're on a stage, so they're with people in the audience, but they're also kind of isolated and by themselves, which makes them more comfortable in that case. They're not like crammed in between people and forced to speak. It's kind of more on their terms. Being in a band gives an introvert a stage, a platform, a way to speak, but it also is on their terms where they kind of control the situation, which is really fascinating. Also, I kind of love the dad being so young and being like a Guitar Hero guy, because again, that puts him in his 30s. That I get that reference of Guitar Hero was really popular when I was in college. So I was like, oh, okay, so you're in your lower 30s. Get it. Awesome. I kind of love that we're getting anime and storytelling that involves like geeky millennial dads, because it's so intriguing to me, because it's like a new generation of parents like getting referenced in media. One of the students is on the team that I coach. Their dad is like, she's like, oh, my dad's a big anime fan. He has all these Funko Pops. He like does all this. And she showed me pictures and I'm like, that's so crazy that we're at this point in history and time where we have parents that are like the anime geeks that are into all of that, and they're getting to pass that on to their kids. It's crazy, right? So I kind of love that we have the dad doing that here. And Bocchi instantly is like, okay, so the Instorms are their band. And then they have this song. It's just this big rock song. And he's able to express himself. And Hitori gets inspired. But yeah, her dad, I'm just amazed at how young he seems. And she's like, can I use your guitar? Okay, so it's his guitar. Okay, gotcha. So then we have her going off, and then we have the mom and the sister. The mom looks exactly like Hitori and her sister. Like, the genetics, I'm sorry, my dude, but your daughters look exactly like their mom. And like, Hitori's getting into guitar as well. Okay, so this makes a lot more sense. She's like, if I'm in a band. I thought in the reaction that she was getting a guitar. She asked her dad if she could get a guitar, not use his guitar. So in the reaction, I was like, girl, that's a Gibson. That's a nice guitar. I don't know a lot of things about guitars, but that's a damn expensive guitar. And that was your starter, but it's her dad's. So that makes so much more sense. Also, the workspace that she's in has like the trash can, the lamp, the fax machine / copier. Like, this is all just like a little office space, right? So the office space ends up using the closet of the office space as her studio. Okay, that makes a lot more sense, because we cut to 3 years later and it's that same room with the doors, and now she's using it as a space. I want to go back and see if her dad moved all his stuff because he didn't want to hear her practicing guitar because it would be loud. I'm kind of like all for her parents being super supportive of her having the guitar and doing the lessons. I think that that's super cool. And you could tell the dad's probably like, oh, cool, you want to play guitar too? That's awesome. I really hope we get to see her and the dad playing guitar. That would be fun. That would be awesome. But yeah, she has to learn the chords. But that first note she played, girl, she sounded great. But then again, the guitar was tuned, so that probably helped as well. But she has this dream of having the band, the culture festival, and everyone going crazy for her. And I love seeing the parents watching her from the other side. And then with the little Shiba Inu and the sister and everything. That's super cute. I love that. Again, there are two characters in Ace of Diamond that have the pink hair as well, and the mom has pink hair. So in my mind, we're already having a crossover. This is in the same universe. These are cousins. I need that. I need the Daya and Bocchi crossover. It's super cute. But yeah, so then we have 3 years later. So we completely skip the middle school days because she practiced so much, she kind of went through middle school. Which I can relate to. I feel like when you are, I know as a writer, I get stuck with writer's block and I'm like, oh, I'll figure out the story. I'll make it perfect. I could relate so much to Bocchi in this moment because I have all these stories that I've wanted to write down and publish and do things with. But there's that fear of if it's not perfect or if it's not exactly how it should be, it's not going to be received well. So I've always held off on just writing stuff out and releasing it because I still want to figure out all the details and connect everything together. And I'm afraid that if it's not perfected how I want it, then people aren't going to receive it well. But, now you have things like, AO3 and Wattpad and stuff where people can kind of put their drafts out there and get critiques and stuff. And so, you just need to do it. And so I need to take inspiration from Bocchi to just do it because I really feel like she reminded me of myself where she was like, she spent 3 years perfecting and getting good at the guitar as far as she was concerned. And then in the meantime, she didn't form the band. And so she kind of missed out on that opportunity, which is definitely something to kind of learn from. But I like it from a storytelling perspective because her practicing for 3 years shows us the audience that she's going to be pretty good at guitar. And I love that because honestly, sometimes it can be unrealistic in a story where the main character picks up an instrument or starts a sport and they're instantly amazing at it. And everybody's like, how'd they be such a prodigy? And you're just like, well, but here, 3 years is a long time to practice. So, and she was doing it 6 hours a day because she wasn't doing school activities. She probably got her homework done at school, was coasting by school and everything and wasn't interacting with people. So she spent all of her time perfecting and practicing. So I like that we'll be able to instantly see how some of that pays off, but it's not going to be perfect. And we're going to talk about that later, but I kind of love that. So yeah, we go back and we see the office and everything. She's got her own little studio now with her headphones, has a laptop, has all the sound equipment, is still using her dad's guitar. Okay, she's still in the office using it as the studio there. That's cool. In the closet. Again, I'm so happy that her parents are supportive of her and they converted her studio into their closet into a studio. That was so nice of them. That was really cool. I think that's shows how good her parents are, that they're trying to encourage her, and she's growing her hair out into this long rocker look. I love it. I love the little sprig ponytail that's not necessary. Super cute. But yeah, I love how supportive her parents are. That's really sweet. I also like that her shirt says Roman, this band is her Roman Empire. So we're going to skip the intro, even though it's super cute. I'm sure we'll talk about it as we go. But yeah, she has all these books with Post-its in it. She's been practicing and she's, learning how to play in front of people. And the result was middle school ended and she'd never done a single note. She'd never performed once. And then there wasn't a culture festival. She's like, I never put things together. I do feel kind of sad because there's all the friends walking away at graduation, arm in arm, like what you see in other anime. And Hitori is kind of by herself, which is kind of sad. She was so busy practicing guitar that she didn't develop these relationships, which, to be fair, and something that I think is important to note is not everyone finds their clique in certain school environments. And I feel like that is something to talk about because I've had people comment about that before in other series. I had my friend group in school. I went to a very, very, very small school. And so I knew my classmates from kindergarten all the way up to when we graduated. Like, that's how small it was. We had like a grade school and then a junior high and high school connected. And I had like 20 in my class. Super small, rural, hashtag rural. And so I knew everybody growing up, and you just kind of form these little friend cliques. And I was lucky enough to find 3 or 4 people that really connected with me, and we all got along, and we kind of like geeked out about the same things, and it was fun. But I know some people that were kind of isolated, because when you are in that kind of environment, especially a really small one, if you don't connect to people, then it can be a very isolating experience. And you don't, in a small school, you don't have a lot of options. So there's not a lot of fish in the pond to choose from. So if you were by yourself in that environment, it would be really hard. And so I feel like she's an example of nobody at her middle school clicked with her. And that's really, really sad. So instead, she's like, I didn't make a single friend, and now I'm in high school. I like the mom and the sister, and the dad's like taking the picture of her. So it's been a couple more years. Like, he's probably in his late 30s by now, or mid 30s. I love that he has a suit and everything on, taking the picture. Again, dim genetics. And now she's like, I gotta form a band or die trying. I love when her voice gets all raspy. She's like, I gotta do it. Like, I love it. It reminds me a lot of Agretzko. I love it. It's great. And she's like, it's been a whole month since high school started, and I still haven't connected. My heart remains grounded in the guitar. Little better than a shut-in. I love she's making the song, lyrics and music by me, from the closet with love. I love it. So I love that she has been doing covers of bands, which kind of ties to the fact, it ties to her own security as a person, because it speaks a lot that Hitori has original songs, but she's afraid to show them to people because, again, an original song is part of you. It's something you created. So instead, she's doing covers and releasing those. And to me, that kind of ties to like fan fiction. I've wrote a lot of fan fiction growing up because, with fan fiction, you're kind of just building on someone else's work, which doesn't mean it's not your own. You're making up the stories. You're telling them. It's your writing, but it's based off something that already exists. So there's kind of a safety net there. There's kind of a comfort zone there. You can always fall back on someone else's anchor, and you don't have to like feel all out by yourself with your own characters that are just not supported by any previous IP or anything. So I can feel when Bocchi's talking about doing the covers and perfecting those. I feel that because it's like, yeah, fan fiction is a comfort because you can build off something that already exists. You could fall back on it. And that's the same way with the covers. The music and stuff's already there. You're just doing your own spin on it. I really love the connectivity to that. And I think a lot of people can relate. I've been playing under the name Guitar Hero on my dad's advice. Yeah, he's a millennial from the 30s and in his 30s. My latest video has so many comments. This part I could really relate to as well. Talking about looking at comments and seeing like people commenting on things. But when she said like, maybe it's okay if I can't handle real life. There are tons of people for me cheering online. The internet is filled with socially anxious introverts just like me. That's so true. And this whole conversation about it, and by the end of the episode, it really is kind of technology is a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, I love it because it does so many things. It connects people across the world that would normally never connect. And that's so important, that it's connecting people that normally never interact. And you learn so much about other cultures and so much about other, how the world works through that technology. And without it, we would never know, or it would be a lot harder to access that information. So there's that. And there's also the fact that, like Hitori says, the internet is a place where it can be a comfort, where people who are socially anxious can get online and talk to others, and it's kind of like on your own time. It's on your own terms. You can back off if you don't want to be there anymore. And there's not that social awkwardness of when you're in a conversation in real life and suddenly the conversation gets awkward or it ends and you're like, well, gotta go. You gotta know how to make those decisions and how to pick up those cues and cut that conversation off. And it can be really awkward sometimes. And doing it on the internet kind of takes that away, because when you're done, you just stop talking. or you say, oh, hey, I got to go. Okay, bye. And then there's no awkward walking away or figuring out what to do. There's no nonverbals, no not like gestures or anything. You just stop and the conversation ends. And there's a bit of control with that. Whereas in public, the control is not as stable because you're interacting in real time with someone, right? But I think it's important that they do make a distinction when she's talking with Ijichi and the other girl, the bassist. I'll get her name in a minute. When she's talking with them, she realizes, because they know her online persona, but she's not said it out loud yet. And I'm going to be curious to see in the show if she says it out loud. I feel like she'll tell him by the end of the season, but we'll see. Maybe not. But what she realizes is, oh, these people are online are real people. And they're like, what we put online kind of influences people. And that's, because I feel like hearing that and seeing that in this episode, I was like, yeah, it's crazy, because sometimes when you get online, you feel like there's a barrier around you and the stuff doesn't leave that barrier. And what you post online doesn't impact people in their day-to-day lives as they walk on, but it kind of does. And it kind of does affect them. And like these girls were affected by hearing that music, and they're trying to impart that wisdom to her. And I'm like, oh, that's the girl you're talking about. But it is something to make note of, that these are real people online for the most part, unless it's like a bot, or AI, but they're mostly real people. And what you say and do with them does impact them possibly outside of the computer internet realm. So, but yeah, poor Hitori. She's like, if I formed a band and played this for a cultural festival, the whole school went crazy for it. Oh, and so she gets kind of like nervous there because she's like, I put in all this effort, but am I actually doing a band? I felt bad. Here's the thing. And this kind of lends to my conversation about maybe her school just had just basic ass bitches in it. And they just weren't worth Bocchi's time. Because, her bringing CDs to school and setting them on her desk, I'm sorry, I grew up in a very small school. If somebody showed up with a bunch of CDs on the desk, I would at least go by and be like, what's that? Like, I would have been like, what's going on? But again, Western culture versus Eastern culture, maybe it's something else. And then she had the bag, the cool bag. I mean, the girl in front of her has a backpack with some toys on it too. And she's like, talk to me. And she's like, the song request of the death metal song was amazing. I thought that was amazing. I loved that. Not the flashbacks. I really like the fourth wall breaking humor in this series. It's great. And she's like, I really want to play live. Okay. But yeah, I kind of just feel like the people at her school might just be basic, or they're scared of something that's totally different. Because I'm like, obviously she's cool. I love the armbands. I love the look that she has. Like, girl, you would be killing it at my high school. Everybody'd be like, who are you? But I don't know if maybe she is scaring them away, but she's so cool. Like, I think the most unrealistic thing about this show is that nobody at her high school asks about her look or who she is. Like, in any other anime, she'd be the person that would be turning heads walking down the hallway. Like, what? But then again, all the other students in the classroom are wearing like the boring ass beige uniforms and just talking about random humdrum pedestrian things. So, girl, you're ahead of your time and you don't even realize it. You're on another level beyond all these people. So then there's another girl. I don't know if she's in a different class or in a different grade, but the redhead, who I'm sure is going to be our singer / guitarist. She sees the guitar. I want to know who she is. I hope we meet her in future episodes. But she looks like she has a friend group and is integrated with them. Though when she looked over to the one guy and he was waiting on the kid to come from school, and she's like, I'm sorry for presumptuous empathizing. That was hilarious. But bless her heart. So when she said this, she's like, maybe the online world is where I belong. And it makes me not want to go back to school. Again, as a teacher, I feel like if I was noticing a student in my class that stands out that much and wasn't doing anything to make sure they were like making friends, I would have said something. But that's just me. I would have asked them what's going on. But I hate that she was considering dropping out of school because she couldn't make friends. Because it's like, I wish that she would have that self-confidence to just say hi. And by the end of this episode, it seems like she's making that confidence to say, I'm going to say hi to my classmates. And I'm like, good. Because sometimes when people don't say hi back to you, it's we as humans are much more self-conscious of ourselves than anyone is of us. And I struggle with that a lot because I sometimes worry. I'm like, when somebody doesn't answer their text message I've sent for like 3 hours, I'm like, are they mad at me? And it's like, no, I was busy doing other things. We get so hypercritical of ourselves sometimes and think that we're the problem, when the reality is there is no problem. It's just something else is going on, or the person we're talking to is dealing with something that has nothing to do with us. And we as humans kind of, we are our own protagonists, and we kind of get self-centered sometimes. And for Bocchi, she thinks that because nobody's talking to her, it must mean that they hate her and she can't connect. And the reality is, well, they probably just see you not talking and think that you want to be by yourself. And so they just assume that. And again, assumptions are bad, but you've got to make that initiative to connect. And I'm glad that as she's about to sever that possibility, that's when EGG shows up. And she's like, hey, you have a guitar. I love her. She's like definition of an extrovert, has the messy bow tied around her neck, the side ponytail. She's super cute. I know Cloverworks does this and not KyoAni, but she looks like a character from, what's the KyoAni show about the maid Sama? It's like, they're like dragons. That doesn't help anybody, but she looks like something from that Maid Sama series. Just her design reminds me of that, right? Dragon Maid Sama or something. You all know what I'm talking about. That's gonna drive me. KyoAni Dragon Maid. Was it? Oh, Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Thank you. Yeah. So it's Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. She looks like a character from that series. So she introduces herself. She's a second year. Nijika Ijichi, second year. And Bocchi's a year younger and introduces herself. And then she's like, oh, hey, Tori-chan. She's like, oh, God, we're on first names already. True extrovert. And she's like, I need somebody that can play guitar. I mean, this was straight up out of like a video game cutscene and straight up anime first episode business of like, I need you to be in my band right now. And Tori's like, I've trained for 3 years, but I'm not ready. I thought it was great. I loved it. It also feels, she's like, straight to the club. I love it. And she's like, do you come here a lot? And Hitori-chan's like, I don't want to talk to people. What's crazy is she's like, she again doubts herself. She says Nijika is fashionable. I'm like, girl, she's wearing just a basic uniform. She ain't that crazy. She's got like a sideways bow, but you're just as fashionable. Don't doubt yourself. Like, I feel for her. Like, she instantly is criticizing herself in the worst ways. But again, we all do that at times ourselves, so it's very relatable. Now, when she says she smells the way a high school girl should, I was like, is this gonna be a Yuri? I'm not opposed. I'm here for it, but I was like, girl, are we getting into that? And she's like, am I walking too fast? So they're going to this band called Starry, where her sister is the manager for it. Again, I get March comes in like a lion. I have like, there's 2 sisters in that series where one works at a bar and one is in high school. So it kind of, or middle school. So it kind of relates to this. She asks if Hitori is athletic. And I love when Hitori says, I'm always the last one standing in dodgeball for some reason. Yes. And that's not because you're good at dodgeball. It's because no one notices you. I was like, oh my God, that is so relatable, because when I play, I am not athletic at all. I don't have a lot of hand-eye coordination. I would like to be athletic. I would really like to be athletic. It would be great. My parents are both super athletic, and it just skipped a generation with my brother and I. We're both like clumsy as hell. But I liked playing dodgeball. I was just terrible at it. I couldn't throw well. I didn't have the trajectory, no softball arm, and I was always usually the last one on the court because I was really good at not going up to the front line to get hit, so I could just dodge and be in the back. But then you're the last one, you have to do something. So I could relate so much to what she was saying in this. I do love the underground bar and how realistic it is. It just, like, the pipe work, the stuff everywhere, the sound booth, how cramped it is, the like 2 tables by the stage, the bar that's like in the corner, the one tiny TV, like it looks so realistic. I loved it. And I loved how Bocchi was like, I love this environment because it's like my studio in my closet at home. She's like, I'm all here for it. And so then, yeah, we have the girls that are there hanging out, the band that's playing today. And she's like, they're all kind of like me. They're introverts. So then we have the PA. Yep. And then it says, do not spill drinks on the equipment. I love the one woman that stands up. They've all got great designs. I love it. Now, so our bassist, we met her by miraculous happenstance. I love it. And so what is her name again? Rio Yamada. Yamada. I don't know if I would like to try to do their first names, to try to do Yamada, but I might say Rio because Rio's so easy. But bass. Love her design. I love the black floral shirt. I love her attitude. I love she's a bass player. Everything about her. She's so cool. Rio's just awesome. I love it. So they all decide to go backstage and get ready and practice. And the thing I like about this is that Hitori has practiced for years and years, so she's a good guitar player, but they established that playing in a band is not just about your individual talents, it's about syncing up with your other band members and playing the set. Now, they talked about her not being able to look at the other band members, make eye contact, and that was hindering her. How her being in the box made it better, but then maybe because she wasn't as self-conscious, she was able to focus more. Maybe that's the reason why. But I was like, if you were trying to increase her in syncness with the band and eye contact, being in the box probably didn't help. But if it made her feel more comfortable, then mission accomplished. We'll go with that. But yeah, I also love the little guitar. It looked like a potato saying the things of Guitar Man's easy to learn Hitori classes. I love Guitar Man's easy to learn Hitori classes instead of Hitori-chan's easy to learn guitar classes. I love that. It's important to be in sync with your fellow band members. They gotta have a singer though. Gotta have a singer. So I'm excited to see the idea of if the redhead joins as the singer to bring them together, which Ijichi being the drummer's like the glue. So I like the idea that she's the glue of the band. Also the Maslow like hierarchy of needs, the pyramid of where Bocchi is. Hitori's at the very bottom. The next level is water flea. The water flea. The next level is normal person, then social butterfly, and then we just elevate to God status. We go from normal human, social butterfly, God within 3 levels. That's amazing. The humor in this series, and then she's like, I'm Plankton Goto. The series is so funny. I love it. I'm just going to say that Rio Yamada is Lilith fair-coded, and I'm kind of here for it. The fake, I loved that they had the fake in credits where it's like Water Flea, Hitori Goto, Nijika Ijichi, drummer, Rio Yamada, bassist, Guitar Man as himself. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So I guess, is Goto her first name? Hitori Goto? I like Hitori, so easy to say, though. But oh, Goto. Goto sounds like Gojo and Goku together. So I love her in the trash bin, and that leads them to the idea about the box. And I love her just saying, instead of having a concert, let me just kill myself on stage, and it'll be fine. I do love Yamada standing up for her, saying, like, if anybody boos you, I'm going to hit him with my bass. Like, that instant support. I love that Ijichi and Yamada instantly are like, hey, we'll support you. We're not going to let you feel uncomfortable out there. It's totally cool. If you're feeling scared, we'll be there. We understand we got you at the last minute to play this set, and it's super nerve-wracking. But yeah, we'll be there for you. It's totally cool. I thought that was really sweet. And I love that they're willing to, like, help her. I love they say bloodshed is pretty rock. They're like, yeah, it'll be all good. It'll just be my friends who can watch us play anyway. So it takes it away from there. Which honestly, though, having coached a speech team, usually the people you know are the hardest people to perform in front of because there's those expectations. And strangers are oftentimes easier to perform in front of because you're like, I don't know them. I'll never see them again. So... But then they talk about Guitar-san. Oh my God. Guitar Hero. I love they tried to like talk about her about this person on the internet and it's actually her. Oh my God. And then we see her little thing here saying, sorry, I can't upload very often nowadays. There's just so much going on at high school. Next time I'll try a song I do all the time with my friends at karaoke. Which is not true. She doesn't do karaoke. Interesting. So poor, and I can see why. So if Hitori has crafted this if Hitori has crafted this persona where she's this, rock star and she's telling people on the internet and has friends, but that's not true, I could see maybe why she wouldn't want the two girls to know that she is Guitar Hero, because she's afraid that they'll think that she's lied to them about who she actually is. That's interesting. But the fact that they both support her both online and in person is crazy. And so I like that they try to cheer her up and encourage her. And then she's like, yeah, I thought real life people didn't care about me at all. But the fact is, they do. And they are caring about her right now. So she's like, it's a kind of miracle most people never experience. I can't let it go to waste. Yep. And so she decides to perform, and she's like, and they're like, well, if you're scared, you can play in here. I like Yamada just has the mango box and just does that as a catch-all. It looks so silly, but I love that they're totally serious about it. They're like, yep, we're going to make this work because it'll help you. I love it. When she said in middle school that they called her hey and you there, that's so sad. Poor girl. Poor girl. But they decided to go with and give her a nickname, Hitori Bocchi, which means all alone. And they call her Bocchi, which she instantly latches onto. And so Kasoku Band is the name, but the band's literal name is Zip Tie. Honestly, that's a good band name. I like the idea of Zip Tie as the band name. It's actually kind of funny. And the fact that they're not in sync together kind of like adds to the irony of it. I love it. So Ijichi saying the key is to have fun even if you suck. That's super sweet. I love that because yeah, I think sometimes we doubt ourselves so much and we've convinced ourselves that we're not as good as we actually are. And so when that happens, it's like, well, then just go have fun. If you don't think you're good, just go have fun and your actual talents will shine. Also, for karaoke, this is the message of karaoke. My coworkers and I were talking about this the other day. The worst type of karaoke people are like and I hate to use the phrase theater kids, but it's the people that show up to karaoke thinking that they're auditioning for American Idol. They're just like going to sing the song and belt it and be Celine Dion. And you're like, if we wanted to go to a concert, we would pay for it. Karaoke is about having fun. Even if you're not a good singer, if you have fun and get the crowd into it, then that's the point. It's about everybody celebrating mediocrity. It's karaoke. And it's fine. It's for everyone. And I like Ijichi saying we can work on the skill part next time. And Bocchi being like, they're okay with there being a next time. Super cute. So they're like, we're going to play a bunch of songs you probably already know, so just enjoy. And they're like, we're going to play the covers and do all that. So the sisters over there, she looks a lot like Ijichi with her laptop and everything. I like that you have the menu and everything. Beer, vodka, gin, rum, tequila, plum wine. I would have some plum wine there. That'd be fun if they could heat it up. But yeah, it's super cute. All I'm thinking, though, now is with Given, if Mafiu just came out in a box. But his social anxiety is a lot different than Hitori's, so I don't know about that, but that would be so funny. And I love that they have this we don't actually get to hear the performance, but she's like, I've never shown today before, and I still don't. This is actually a low point for me. I love the blue tones where she's like, I'm in a box on a stage. Have I really been in a band? And then we see later the box is just trashed. And they're like, well, we screwed up, but it's okay. I love that she comes out of the box and she's like, before our next performance, I'm going to get brave enough to say hello to my classmates. What a dramatic declaration. And she's like, okay, growth. I get it. Sure. Let's have a Bocchi-chan welcome party / concert postmortem. I love it. I love that her friends, they've become her friends already. They're super supportive of her. It's super cute. And then, of course, Bocchi's like, actually, I'm exhausted. I'm going to go. And I like that Yamada's also sleepy. Poor Ijichi. She's like the only social butterfly extrovert, and the other two are just like done, passed out, over it. Super cute. But yeah, there are no ties to this band at all, but I'm going to get over my social anxiety and bring out my full Guitar Hero powers. Aww. And then she bumps into somebody, but she does say sorry, so at least there's that. This is so cute. I am I'm here for this series already. I'm really here to talk about it with y'all. I think Hitori is a super cute character. I can relate to her a lot and I want to root for her and help her get out of her social anxiety and help get connected to people. And I love Ijichi and Yamada being so supportive of her. I think that it's just I really like it so far. So I'm excited that we get this little series to watch. And we'll have a season 2, so that's exciting as well. I think they said season 2 would come out next year, which is fine. We've got lots of shows on the channel to watch in between now and then. But yeah, I'm excited to see what this little season, this 12 episode arc is going to give us. So, as always, I'm excited to hear your comments down below. Please, no spoilers, hints, or clues. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more reactions and Bocchi the Rock. Bye!